All right, and we're live. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Doc Tales. Tonight we have with us Steve Adams of Catfishing, the Misipy. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Jody.
Hey,
Hey,
Steve.
Jody. How are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you, Tom?
Doing well, doing well. Happy to have Steve up here with us.
Definitely.
Tickled to be here.
All right, before we get started, Jody, who do we have in the chat tonight? Looks like they're piling in.
We got Mr. Pork Chop, Matt from Wanna Be Outdoors, Quiet Man Curtis, howdy. Then we got Don R. How are you tonight? Annette Morgan. Steve Adams is in there. Michelle. Tim Donna. Then we had, let me scroll on down. Tim Molina, how do you do? David Smith, howdy. Chucky Morgan, how are you tonight? Steve Black, howdy. That's a new name for me. I ain't seen him before.
That's one of my old friends.
Okay, nice to meet you, Steve.
Welcome.
And then we got Jimmy Graham. Catfish Regulators, Mr. Aaron. Bullock Experience, Kelly. Let's see who else we got.
See, Aaron says that looks like a nice shirt you got on there, Steve.
It's a wonderful shirt. That's
Morgan said to get going.
That's a Catfish Regulators by way of George Ray shirt.
Oh.
Excellent. Wow.
And then we've got Kevin B. Hello. I saw him earlier in a stream. Lance McCougar, howdy. And Jimmy Graham said I was a dressmaker. We all know what that's about. Chris Everett. Mad Catter Catfishing, howdy. Dale Hayslip.
Well, I see the first bacon emoji in the chat.
Yeah. Brian B. Catfishing. Want to know who fell asleep? That would be him. James Protected. Hello. CVA. How you doing? Freddy's Outdoor Adventures. Hello. Palmetto Cats. Howdy do. He said I look like I just woke up. No, not hardly. I might look like I woke up, but I didn't. There's Mark from Catfish and Crappie. He says, hello, sexy Steve.
Damn, Mark, coming from you, I don't think that's a compliment.
Danny Stone Outdoors, he's in here. I think I'm getting close to the bottom.
All right. I don't see anybody that you missed. If we missed you, we'll try to get you further on down the list. I do have a little housekeeping here in the description tonight. We have some links for everybody. Obviously, Steve Adams is the #1 link tonight. If you haven't joined Steve, please go on and do that. We have Jody's page and her Facebook and her Women of Catfish Facebook group. We also have a link for Bobcat Outdoors, his Horizon Graphics site, where he made up my awesome sticker, and many others. Reach out for him if you need stickers. We have Michelle's It's All Mine. I know she's looking to get out some new content, but we've been doing some renovation around here, and the kitchen's been tied up, so look for something coming in the near future. We're also trying to get Creole up, his watch hours up, so please keep that in mind. If you could do that, he would appreciate it. He's got his 1K. Also looking to help the Chad and Jeremy Colvin, who did reach 100 and for some reason did not get treated so well by YouTube. So we're trying to get them started new channels. We're trying to get them built up. And our friend Jerry Parker's at 938. He's getting close to his 1K, so his link is there. And as always, we have Uncle Lou's Tackles Facebook page and Brad's Tidal Weights and Sinkers page. So all those links are there if you need them. If they're new to you, check them out. Pretty standard, though, but it looks like those are some well-known names, but hopefully they can pick up something. So, All right, let's get started with tonight's show. Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born and raised here in the Delta, Mississippi Delta. Been here for 74 years. Never been over about 13 miles from the Mississippi River, and I don't guess I'll ever be any further than that. And I'm about 3 miles from it now, so I'm getting closer. But I'm an old Delta boy. Grew up in this buckshot and sandy land and farming early on for 30 years, 40 years. And just no slow talking Mississippi boy.
So what has changed in farming over the years since you were a kid?
Well, like we talked earlier, I'm old enough to remember I grew up on a farm. My grandfather was a farm manager for a lawyer here in the county I lived in, and I can't remember what winter it was, but I know we had 110 mules.
Wow.
That's what they farmed with, and so it had to have been somewhere around. I was born in 47, so it had to have been around 52. It was before I started the school, and I think I started school in 53. So it had to have been around in the winter of 52, probably. The man that owned the farm bought 13 tractors.
Huh.
And they started delivering those tractors in November. And of course, it's 13 miles of gravel road out to the farm I grew up on when I was a little boy. And you have to understand that in 1952, 53, none of the farm labor, very little of the farm labor, owned a vehicle. Very few of them had ever driven anything. And they spent the whole winter in the gravel road that ran in front of the farm, out there running those tractors up and down the gravel road, turning them over, running them off in the ditch and everything else, trying to learn how to drive a tractor.
Yeah.
So they farmed the next spring. I can remember just like it was yesterday. None of them got hurt. They tore up some fenders and they tore up some tractors, and they pulled brand new tractors now. These wasn't old raggedy junk tractors. These Master Harris, I think they were Master Harris 26s. I believe that was a number on. They don't even make Master Harris anymore. But yeah, that's where I started, and that's where I learned, and that's how it started for me. And now they got tractors that drive themselves up and down,
All right. Yep.
Their GPS guidance. And in fact, I've never been on one. I really don't know how they operate. But it looks like it's a lot easier than walking behind a mule or a tractor or driving an open air tractor. It looked like it'd be a lot easier to me.
Yeah, literally, you could probably sit in one of them ones now and watch YouTube on it while it's doing all the work for you.
Well, I'm sure there's a fellow watching this. I think he'd be watching it. He's an old friend of mine, not a fishing friend, just an old friend. And I told him, I made the statement to him 20 years ago, at least 20, maybe 25 years ago. I told him, you're going to live to see the day, Bob, that it's going to take a college education to go out here and drive one of these damn tractors. and he I think he thought I was kind of stupid. Of course, he thinks I'm stupid anyway, but it's come to pass.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty smart to drive one of these tractors now.
Oh, yeah. And rich. Those tractors ain't cheap anymore.
They don't give them away. They sure don't.
Yeah. So what crops did you have?
Rice, cotton, soybeans, corn,
Hmm.
wheat. You
Wow.
name it, we can raise it here. We can't
Hmm.
raise dates, and we can't raise coconuts, and we can't raise uh, palm trees, but we can raise everything else. We live, everybody's always read about how rich in the Bible about the
Hmm.
Tigris Euphrates River bottom in Iraq and Iran over there in the Bible.
Yeah.
Well, this Mississippi Delta is every bit, if not richer.
Hmm.
The soil, than anywhere in the world. We can raise anything we need to raise.
Hmm.
We can feed a lot of the world right here in this 200 by 50-mile wide strip.
Wow.
We don't have to raise corn. We don't have to raise cotton. We can raise whatever these boys can raise whatever they need to raise to make a living.
Now, did you plant anything this year?
Oh, I don't farm anymore. I'm retarded, man. I got my sweet corn in my little garden planted.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
How
that's
many
good.
hills you got?
55.
Mm-hmm.
I planted 55 seeds.
Wow. How long does it take when you plant corn to get it to mature that you can harvest it?
I planted this corn this third day of March. I'll pick corn in early June.
Oh, wow. And then can you replant? Could that replenish again, or is it just one time a year?
Well, I won't because the worms get in it so bad
Okay.
later on. The later you plant it.
Yeah.
Later you plant it, you get worms in the cobs, and I don't like a lot of protein with my corn
Yeah, I hear that.
No, me neither.
unless it's beef or pork.
Yeah, right. Well, you got to forgive me if my questions seem a little off. I'm a city boy. I grew up in Boston, so
That's good.
I don't know a whole lot about farming other than my grandfather's brother had a farm up in northern New Hampshire, and we used to go there every summer. My mother would send us up there for like a month, and it was nice. They had all sorts of crops, and my aunt would send us out there with a pail. Said, just go pick what you want for dinner, and we'd get the peas, peas, fresh green beans, squash. It was wonderful.
Oh yeah.
Until we realized the one year we went up there, and he had a pig that was about 300 pounds. And the next year we went up, and he didn't have it anymore. We were eating a lot of pork that year.
Yeah.
When
Sure.
we were like 7, maybe 8, and I think I was in tears when I realized that was what we were eating.
You ate old Susie, man.
Yeah. We used to climb on that thing and ride him around the barnyard, and that was like the first thing when we drive all the way. Is like a 5-hour drive from Boston. You get up there and where's the pig? It's gone.
Yeah.
So he didn't
That
die.
happened to me.
He didn't die of old age.
When I was
I
a
had
little
to sell the
boy,
last hog I raised. My kids wouldn't eat it. I had to sell it.
when I was little, my grandfather, I called him Dave, but I on the same plantation, on the same farm. He raised all the hogs for the plantation, and we had. I'm trying to remember. It was like 20 families that lived on the farm there. I know we put 100 hoe hands in the field to chop
Mhm.
cotton, and anyway, we raised all the hogs up there. We had a big barn and had a big fenced in area for the hogs, and all the men would come up in the wintertime and they'd have a hog killing.
Mhm.
Well, this particular year, my granddaddy had decided it was time for me to learn how to kill a hog, and he was a good guy, but damn, he had to be tough because he'd go out there with a hoe and he'd feed the hogs. He did most of the hog feeding, and I'm talking 100 head of hogs. He did most of the hog feeding every afternoon, and I'd go out there with him, and he'd get them buckets and feed, and them hogs would stand up there, and he'd take that hoe and scratch it back and talk to them, and they'd fall over on the ground, go
Huh.
sleep. He just talked. big, and scratched it back with that hoe while they was eating. And but then he could take that 22 rifle and pop them right between the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Huh.
he decided it's time for me to kill the hog. Look, them big old black eyelashes curled up, big old pretty eyelashes. And I couldn't shoot the pig. I was a little boy. Boy, he got so upset with me. He told my grandmother that he won't amount to nothing. He ain't never gonna be nothing. He's a sissy. He got upset, man. Because I couldn't kill that pig. I've been watching him feed them pigs, and he let me reach through the fence and scratch him behind the ear and all that. I couldn't kill him.
You become a pet.
Yeah.
Yep.
To me, it was.
Don't pet what you eat. That's number one rule.
No, don't ever do that. That was a bad deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
You gotta make that right there. You don't pet what you're gonna plan on eating. And you don't get a soft spot for it.
That's right. I had another encounter with hogs back when I was farming, and I went broke farming in '76. Well, in '75, I bought two little bitty black Poland China sow.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna raise and eat them. Well, when it come time for me to leave the farm and go find a job, I couldn't kill them pigs. They were at the headquarters there, so I carried them pigs with me to my next job, which was managing a big plantation down in. That's what brought me where I am now in the part of the Delta I'm in now. I went to work for a big cotton plantation.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about your job.
Yeah. Well, I was farming for a company called Delta Pine and Land Company. Delta and Pine Land Company. At that time, it was one of the largest cotton plantations in the world. We had 38,000 acres, and I farmed about 2,000 acres of it, 2,200 acres of it. It was a good job. I was there 2 years, made 2 crops, and they sold it to Prudential Insurance and put me back in the street.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. That's after going broke farming. 2 years later, I'm back in the street. After landing a good job, there were 72 applications for that job I got. And it was a highly sought after managing job, farm managing job.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. Of course, I lived in the farm manager's back door. I was on his back doorsteps every time he went outside begging for a job. But anyway, I got it. and then lost it when they sold the place to Prudential Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back home, and my wife and 2 little babies, we lived in a little old 1-room apartment, paid $50 a month rent. I drove a tractor. And then in the late July, I went to Texas and drove a cotton picker for a buddy of mine, and had applied for this job with a German company, and it came to pass the following February. So in 1979, I didn't have a job other than common labor, and then went to work in 1980 for a big company. But I made it. We made it, and no matter how bad times are, I always have a saying that a year from now you'll be laughing about this.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
Yeah, let me take a second to get us caught up on some of the chat here. We've got a lot of new people popping in. We got Jamie from Carolina Real Screamers, Jarrell from JVT, Creole, Big Bill, Down East Tackle. I'm not sure if you said Tim Molina, but I know he was in here for quite a while now. My good buddy, Two Stands, Danny Stone, Mike's Fishing Home, Buck Williams, Ashley Brady, Bobcat, Jerry from Parker Pursuits,
Mm-hmm.
Cause, a.k.a. Brenda, and
Yeah.
Bugman. I've been trying to keep up. If I've missed anybody, I'm sorry.
You got a few more. Brad Cadell, Small Water Charters. Did you say Bugman?
Said Bugman, yep.
Mike Sampson. And Matt from Wanna Be Outdoors come back in. I think that got them all caught up right there. But Creo had a comment that tickled me. He said they used everything off the hog except the orange.
Yep. Everything but the horn.
Kevin Baker just come in. How you doing?
Excellent. Yeah, we got 50 people in here, Steve. All come to see you.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yep.
Everybody loves Steve.
Yeah, well. I like a lot of people. I'm a people person.
So what about your family life, Steve?
All right, I've been married for almost 53 years. I married my high school sweetheart, I guess you'd say.
Wow.
We have 2 boys. One of them's 50 and one of them's 47. I've got 2 grandchildren. 5 grandchildren. 2 of them are 19 and freshmen in college. 2 of them are 15, 16, and they sophomores in high school, and one of them's 13. I think I'm getting this right, and he's a 9th grader.
Well, they'll let you know if you got it wrong, I'm sure.
Well, they just chilling to me, so
yeah.
I try to keep up with as much as I can. Been going coon hunting with the youngest one here a little bit.
How's that going?
And well, he goes out there and walks with the dogs and all. I sit up at the truck up on top of the levee and listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out with the hunters and walks and carries on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he's really the only one that gets into the hunting part of it.
Yeah.
I see that bobcat. Yeah, I might as well make this announcement now. I ordered 100 stickers from Bobcat, and everybody gives their stickers away. Well, I'm gonna sell mine, so if I keep them, I ain't selling. I ain't giving nothing away. If you want one of my stickers, you send I'll send you a self-addressed stamped envelope, and you send me $3, and I'll send you a sticker.
That works.
I ain't giving nothing away.
That's fine.
And I'm joking. But everybody accused me of being so tight I squeak.
You do squeak. I hear it many times of a late night.
Yeah, I broke down to order some stickers. And I want to thank Real and Virtual Outdoors for designing them. He's actually came up with the sticker, and then Bobcat did a little bit of modifications to him, but Troy sent me the first one and the picture of the first one, and then I sent it to Bob and told him what I'd like and a little bit different, and heck, they came up with a nice little sticker. So I got some stickers coming.
That's great.
And they paid for. I had to go borrow the money, but I got them paid for.
That's a good thing you pay for them before the gas prices start going up.
Well, I'll have to mow yards for about a week.
Yeah.
Pay for them, but I'll get it done.
So gas here has gone up like almost $1 in less than 7 days. It's ridiculous.
I know. How much is it where you're at?
Ours is $4.29 for regular.
$4.09 here for regular.
I think it's $3.80 here.
Yeah.
I just got a text message from my wine man, said no more free wine for me. I got a buddy down in Monroe, Louisiana that makes wine and homemade wine, and I usually get a pretty good supply. I guess if I'm going to sell stickers, I guess I'll have to start paying for wine.
It's the Angler of the Ville. Welcome. He says it's $3.79 where he's at.
Yeah, that's what it is here.
Yeah.
But Angley, I think you left off that 0.9. That makes it 380.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy's got a question.
I see that. Yeah, that was. Look here. I don't know if any of my old friends from growing up are in here or not, but we had a coach growing up he was a super guy, and he raised all us boys. I mean, he he just super guy, and all of these dadgum pranks and stuff that I come up with, a whole lot of it goes back to him.
Yeah.
When I was young, junior high school and little league ball and all that. And he always had those saying, I've seen him do it before. He'd walk up to a fella and they'd be talking and he'd hand him a quarter. And the fella take the quarter and say, what's this for? And Coach Henry would say, my mama always told me if I ran up on somebody uglier than me, to give him a quarter.
Yeah.
And look, I've seen him do it more than once. And that stuff like that sticks to you when you're a little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're young, and I've done it my whole life too. And I'm sure I don't know if any of my other buddies ever did it or not, but hell, I still do it. I'm 74 years old, and I haven't been hit yet now.
Mhm.
Yeah, nowadays you got to be careful.
Well, I do it over the internet now where they can't hit me.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uncle Luke had a comment.
that's where a lot of that junk comes from. His name was Coach Richard Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Say hello, Uncle Lou. I said Angler DeVille came in. Susquehanna Stan
Mm-hmm.
is here.
Yeah. Uncle Lou said Steve will now be known as Squeaky instead of Coach.
There you go. Yeah, I squeak when I walk now. Well, if you ever been broke and you didn't know where you gonna buy your next package of hot dogs from, you learn to be conservative now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn that, and
Mm-hmm.
and I guess that's where it comes from.
Well, Matt has a comment. Want to be outdoors? Says I'm so ugly I'll need more than 1 quarter.
1 quarter. Yeah. It's just a joke. Everybody usually takes it pretty good.
He was just talking about coaching. So let's go to your education and then what led you into doing in your last 15 years of work.
All right. Well, and I'll have to go back to Coach Henry. He he instilled a love of baseball in me. He reinforced what my grandmother started. He reinforced it, and I ended up playing college ball. I wasn't even going to college. I was going to the farm. I was recruited to play ball at several big universities around, football and baseball. And I was going to the farm. I had gotten a high school education, and that was enough for me to go to work, and that's what I wanted to do. But I had a junior high coach that kept hounding me. Come out and ride the tractor on the farm. And finally, my stepdaddy told him, said, look, Coach, if the boy's going to do what he's going to do, if he's going to college, he'll come to college. If he ain't going to college, he won't be at college. But you're going to have to stay off of this tractor because he's plowing up my cotton. And so the coach left, and I had 6 high school teammates that were going to this college, junior college, to play football. And so I decided I'd go with her. And I called over there and yeah, well, come on. So anyway, I went over there for 1 year. And I didn't care much about junior college. I played football and baseball, and I didn't care much about it. So I went back to one of the smaller colleges that had recruited me and walked on and made a team. And I played 4 years there. And I got educated. I had a good high school coach, and I had a good college coach that taught me the fundamentals and how to coach baseball. And I loved the game, so I paid attention to what was going on. I learned every aspect of the game. I learned pitching. I learned catching. I learned everything about it. But then when I got out of college, and my wife got out a year before me, and when we had a job offer, and together teaching and me coaching and her teaching elementary school, we were gonna make I think it was $9,000 a year.
Wow.
I believe it was 9. And I told Kay, I said, Lord have mercy, I can drive a truck and make more money than that. And you teach school. So I went to work in the factory and worked 11 months until I could get my everything arranged to start farming. Mm-hmm. Well, I farmed for 6 years, and then I worked for another company for 2 years farming. That's 8 years. And then I got a job with a German chemical research company, farming for them. I'd raise the crops, and the PhDs would come out there and do whatever they were going to do. And I did that for 15 years. So that's 8 and 15. That's 23 years. And now I'm getting, and while I was working for these Germans, I was coaching high school baseball on the side. They liked the idea of one of their employees being involved in the community. Okay. So they allowed me to take all the time. It takes quite a while to coach high school sports. Well, anyway, I coached high school baseball for 6 or 7 years and worked this other job and, full time. And of course, I'd have to go after baseball games. I'd have to go out there and drive the track all night and all that to keep up with my importance. Right. Mm-hmm. And that job played out in 94. And I bought a little old country store. I guess you can tell I get along with people pretty good. And I love people. And a country store just fit because I was right there with all them farmers and all that. But that didn't pan out too good because the Walmarts and the casinos, and it didn't pan out too good. And I lasted, and that's when I decided I'd go into teaching and coaching full time. So in 99, I went in, I took a job coaching and teaching full time, and finally got back to doing what, I really should have been doing my whole life, because I was really a successful baseball coach. The record speaks for itself. Mm-hmm. I sent 42 boys to college baseball, junior college to college on baseball scholarship through the years.
That's great.
Yeah, man, I thought so too. I won 2 state championships, one in high school and then one in 17, 18-year-old summer ball.
Nice.
Third in the World Series out in Texas. But that, coaching, that's where the coach comes from. So most everybody around here, that's what I'm known as coach. Even players I didn't coach call me coach.
Well, Steve, that's something you and I have in common then, because when I was in college, I played baseball growing up, but I got the opportunity to coach for a baseball team for an elementary school right near my college.
There you go.
Yeah, we weren't all that successful when I first got there, and I only did, I had the best kid on my team. There was 5th and 6th grade boys, and I had him playing shortstop and pitching for me. And then one day his mother came to practice and said that my practice schedules interfered with his violin lessons, so he couldn't play no more.
Oh my.
So yeah, we weren't all that successful. And then the next year I didn't go back, but that was the end of my coaching days. But I had fun with it, playing with the kids, teaching them a little something anyways.
That's right. When I coached Little League, I coached a lot of Little League. I coached Little League back in the 60s. I was coaching Little League ball, getting paid for it when my wife and I got married.
Wow.
Yeah, we still have a big, nice platter that the team gave me.
Nice.
But anyway, I always, when I moved to this town I live in now, and it's a pretty good sized town, we had to draft ball players.
Mm-hmm.
And we never finished worse than second in our league, in our thing, most of the time first. And somebody asked, one of the coaches asked me one time, said, Coach, what do you look for in these little old 9-year-old? Well, we was playing 11 and 12-year-old ball, and I'd always draft 9-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
What do you look for in these 9-year-old kids to know that they're going to turn out to be the ball players they turn out to be? I said, I look at their mama. If they got a good-looking mama, I'm going to draft them.
Yeah.
And that's the way I did it. If they had a good-looking mama, they're going to be on my team. For the girls, they throw off good athletes.
Well, you coached softball for a while too, didn't you?
Yeah, I coached high. 1 year, and I love it. High school girls want to learn.
Yeah.
And they really, really are dying to learn. And we had a good program at this school, and it wasn't my program. It was the guy. He's gone now. A good friend of mine. That's a different story. But he started the program and built the program, and but I couldn't. Jody, I told you when the year I coached baseball and softball is a hands-on sport.
Yeah.
You got to put your hands on players. You got to show them. You got to twist your shoulders. You got to twist the hips. You got to mash your foot down out there at shortstop and second base. You got to do this and do that.
Yeah.
And look here, that ain't in this day and time. And of course, now with those girls that I was coaching, I don't think anything would ever happen.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful with that, dealing with little girls.
And,
right.
And I feel like that wasn't the best thing for me to be doing.
Yeah. See, so
I didn't do it but 1 year.
That's something that you and Tom's got baseball. Me and you's got softball in common. Because I played softball. I had a softball scholarship, but I didn't take it.
Really?
Yeah, I was one of the few girls that could hit it over the fence for home runs. Everybody wants you if you can knock one over the fence.
Yeah, you can hit it far. You get to walk. You don't have to do no lot of running.
Nope. You get
Steve, go ahead, Jody. I'm sorry.
You just get to jog slowly around the bases and everybody hooping and hollering.
That's right.
Steve, do you have a professional team that you follow where you're at?
I watch no professionals. The only thing I watch professionally is the Iditarod.
Okay.
That's the doggies.
And that's the dog race up in Alaska, and it's going on right now. And my man is 100 miles behind. But my favorite guy is he came down with COVID Tuesday before the race started, and he got a substitute musher in there for him, and the fellas won 3 or 4 Iditarods, but he's 66 years old and he wasn't in training, and he's not putting on too much of a show with a team of excellent dogs.
Yeah.
But he may show up at the end. Who knows?
Now, is that on TV? Does anybody broadcast that?
I pay a $34 subscription on YouTube, and
Okay.
Not on YouTube. It's heck, I don't know what it's on. It's Iditarod.com, and anyway,
Mhm.
they have GPS tracking on all the sleds, and they got live coverage at a lot of the checkpoints, and
Wow.
they have interviews and interviews with the mushers and all. And I just like it. It's something I never do.
Right.
I watch a little bit of bull riding, and I would never do it. I watch a little bit of rodeo. I would never do it. I'm scared of the horses. So I like to watch stuff that I wouldn't do.
Hey, Tim Molina has a comment. He says, "My father-in-law was a baseball coach. Consequently, my wife can chuck a ball or a shoe like a major leaguer." That's good, Tim.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be into all the sports, and I'd watch pretty much anything. But when I got into the YouTube, I mean, we could do away with our TV now as long as I could still get YouTube. I don't watch anything anymore.
Well, my wife is a big Ole Miss fan. She follows Ole Miss baseball and Ole Miss football, and so I kind of watch some of the football with them.
Yeah, some of the Ole Miss put out a lot of major leaguers, over the years.
Yeah, they have. Look, when I played against Ole Miss when I was in college, and I guess some of you have seen some of the games at Ole Miss where they had a big beer shower out there in the outfield. That's what they're known for. But when we went up there to play Ole Miss, of course, I had been to Ole Miss a bunch. I wasn't but 90 miles from Oxford.
Uh-huh.
But they drug up 2 sets of bleachers for the games. That's how big the stadium was. They drug up a set over there by the Ole Miss dugout and a set over there by the Vistas dugout. Just drug them up there.
Uh-huh.
And just like high school, that's about how many people were. And Coach Swayze was the coach. And I had a chance to go there and play, but I don't know. I stayed close to home and worked on the farm. Went to college and played. But the school I went to had a big baseball program too. It's a small school, but it was a super. And back in those days, Delta State is where I went, and they played State, Ole Miss, LSU. I don't know if they ever played Arkansas or not, but they played all the major big schools around the South.
Mm-hmm.
And Notre Dame and Northwestern, and because the northern teams would leave and stay gone on a 3-week long tour. They'd come south.
Wow.
And they would play like 20 games, 30 games. They just, because they couldn't play up Minnesota and Michigan and up north. Right. They come south kind of during spring break, during their spring break, and they'd make a loop through the South and play ball. Now that's where it was when I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
But now they had to drop all the big conferences had to drop playing these smaller schools, because if they lose to a smaller school, well, it drops them in the standings, the rankings, and that all has to do with going, getting in the tournament at the end of the year, the regional tournaments and all.
Right.
But I got in right at the tail end of all that mess.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Danny Stone has a comment. How many of y'all picture Steve hooking a pack of blue tick hounds to a little red wagon?
No.
Back to the Iditarod.
Never dealt with blue ticks. Tree and walkers. Now I might hook a pack of tree and walkers to a wagon. That's cedar waxwings. Yeah.
Yep, that's the question. Can you tell us about cedar waxwings?
Okay. And Indiana Chris heard me on one of my lives this week. Cedar waxwings are a bird, and I think they're migratory. to this area anyway. But they come in droves and they eat these little berries, holly berries, possum haw. Do y'all know what possum haw trees are? It's a tree that grows and the leaves fall and it's full of little red berries. Well, they come in flocks when those berries are ripe for them to eat. If they eat them too early, they all get drunk or it may kill some of them. But when they know when those trees are ripe, when those little berries are ripe, of course, a holly tree down here always keeps its red berries. And I'm a bird watcher, among other silly things. But they have a trait, and I guarantee you, not very many people have seen this. I got to see it once, and I feel very blessed that I got to see it. They'll flock in, and it'll be 10 or 20 birds that come into a tree and start eating the berries. And the next thing you know, it's 30 or 40 and then 100, and, big flocks of them. They're just working alive. I mean, they're just everywhere. Well, they have a habit, and they'll do this. And Chris says it's called selfishness. He read up on it. But it'd be a line of birds sitting on a limb. And one of the birds would go get a berry and give it to the bird on the end of the limb. And that bird passes to the next bird. And that bird passes to the next bird. And they'll pass that berry down to the trunk of the tree. And the one at the trunk of the tree will eat the berry and fly off. And they all move down a notch. And he'll bring a berry and give it to that one. And he pass it down.
Oh, wow.
And I got to see that once in my backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. That would be cool.
Well, you got to sit and watch him a lot, buddy, to watch it, because I watch him for years and I've seen it once. and I didn't have a video. I didn't know it was gonna happen. It just happened.
Yeah.
And before it was over with, before I could even think about video, it had gone. It was over with. And,
Buck Williams has a comment. Buck says it's like passing the gravy at Sunday dinner.
Exactly. But God does some funny. I mean, why would he say, okay, now this variety of bird here is going to pass a berry? It's really wild to think about some of the stuff that happens out there. Ain't nobody, none of us had anything to do with it. It had to be somebody else that had something to do with it.
Oh, what do those birds look like? I've never even heard of that.
All right, their body form is like a cardinal.
Okay.
Except they're smaller. And they're brownish. They got yellow on their wings. They got a little red on their wings, little red wing bars and yellow wing fans.
Okay.
They kind of grayish brown. And they're smaller than a cardinal, but they got the plume on the back of the head. And I'm sure y'all got cedar waxwings, because y'all got cedar trees everywhere.
Yeah.
Probably
I'll have to look them up.
Pine trees. Yeah, they're pretty little birds.
As Michelle always says, Google is your friend. So I just wrote that down so I can check them out when we get off here.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. The loggerhead shrike and a northern shrike. They are interesting bird too, Bobcat. Shrikes, if you ever been riding along out in the country, or a thorn tree, a locust tree, you got the thorns on it, or a barbed wire fence, and you'll see grasshoppers or frogs stuck on the barbed wire. You wonder, how did that frog get stuck on that barbed wire? Well, that's a shrike. Shrikes catch those frogs, grasshoppers, other insects, other lizards, and they carry them and they spike them on something and let them dry out, and then they get them and eat them and carry them to the little ones. You got two of them, the northern shrike and the loggerhead shrike. We have down here, we have the loggerhead shrike.
Yeah.
Have you heard of those, Jody?
I've heard of them. I ain't never saw one.
Yeah, it's all new to me.
Yep.
Well, chain link. A lot of times they'll put a chain link fence got the crosses up at the top.
Right. Yep. Mhm.
And look up there, and you'll see insects and stuff stuck up there.
Huh.
That's a strike.
Wow.
Wow. That's cool. I have some research to do tonight.
Mhm.
Well, you can take all the stuff I know and $1 and go, and you might be able to buy a cup of coffee.
Let's see.
I know.
Right there.
Coffee's getting
Put a-
expensive.
Yeah.
Matt just put that comment about your fishing videos or any videos are humbling and educational and very relaxing. What got you into YouTube?
Me?
Yeah, what made you do YouTube?
You know, I've been metal detecting ever since back in the 80s. And I was in there on all the podcasts, metal detecting podcasts, and they don't do videos like live streams. It's all on the what's the name of it? Spreaker and places. It's all radio type stuff. But anyway, I don't know. I was sitting around here back in August. It didn't take long for me to get into it. I was back here in August, and for some reason I typed in catfishing in YouTube just to look at some videos. I guess maybe see if I could see any girls in bikinis catfishing. More than likely, because a lot of my life is driven by bikinis. And but anyway, the world famous carnival show was Fishing on the Potomac. I thought it was a big old bald headed fella. I never watched this. And he had all them black and white, black lights and all that. I said, what in the hell, man? I never seen nobody catfish like this. Talking, and I got to sitting up there laughing. And y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. And I went and looked at River Certified. And he's more my kind of catfisherman. You know, he's just out there catching good fish. And then my partner up here, Brian B., showed up in a video or a live stream. And then Has showed up in that canoe or whatever the hell that is. He rides around here. 400-pound guy and riding a hot dog out there. I said, man, this ain't gonna be good here.
Mhm.
But anyhow, I got to watching all of that, and then one thing led to another, you know, and you see all of y'all and see everybody, and you just kind of get involved, and all that started last August, and so I ain't been here long, you know, but that's how I got into it. I said, well, you know, I can't go out in the boat anymore. My wife won't let me go out there by myself, and I said, well, I can sit on the bank. I got 3 or 4 places I can sit on the bank. You know, I might catch a fish. Anyway, I already had a generator. And, you know, I don't use battery packs. I just drag an electric cord down. I had to go buy me some cord. I had to go buy me some lights to plug in.
Yeah.
Because I had to learn how to do most of that stuff. But anyway, that's how I got started.
Wasn't the first time that I saw you was when you were in Aaron? Was it Aaron's tournament? The night tournament? Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was thumbing through, and Aaron and them were live, and so I just sitting there listening to it. I didn't know who Catfish Regulators was from Adam's House Cat. I just sat there listening to him live, and they said something about a tournament. And he kind of laid down the ground rules there, talking to whoever he was. I don't even remember who he was talking to. And I just typed in, I want in. And that's how I got started, you know, to do the tournament thing. And of course, I fished in Jody's Thursday night thing some. And then I fished in that month-long bank tournament that Has put on.
Right.
But
now, you had an interesting night, the night of Aaron's tournament. You
Yeah,
had
I
that,
did. I did. That was a mess there now.
yeah, you had us worried when you fell and all. And
Yeah, I had me worried when I fell more than once. It was tough. And look here, Danny Stone is talking about Nicole Speck. Danny Stone, there's two girls in Australia that will make you throw darts at Nicole Speck. I took her off my watch list.
wow,
Tim, 60 years or better, about 60 years. I went out there. I was trying to figure out because I thought maybe that question was come up. I think the first time I went out there was 1963 or 64. First time I went catfishing on the Mississippi River.
Mm-hmm.
well, that's amazing. I was born in 1964. You've been fishing longer, or as long as I've been alive.
Yeah, I heard Stan talking last night about how about being old school, and he graduated from high school in 1969. I got married in 1969. I asked him, "What if he's old school? What am I?"
Hey, Michelle has a comment on the tournament, Aaron's tournament. Thunderstorm, let's fish. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Well,
And you led that. You led after the first night, right?
yeah, I led up till the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Big
And,
Mike took you down.
Big Mike caught a 17, 18 pound, but now in all reality, he broke a couple of hooks on
Oh,
good
yeah.
fish, right? In the last 30 minutes.
I've never seen a hook break like that.
Yeah, he broke more than one. I think he broke two.
He broke two that night, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, my partner was James Kirkpatrick, and, he does a whole lot better doing trivia questions on YouTube than he does fishing. just messing, James.
Well, he was in the chat. I'm not sure if he still is, but if you are, James, you're welcome to rebut that.
Did you see Susquehanna Stan's question?
I didn't see it.
Trying to find it. Okay, yep, there it is. What's the most important thing to take fishing?
Side cutters. Side cut pliers. If you never had a hook in you 2 or 3 different times, side cutter pliers are your friend.
Yep.
Good sharp ones.
Yeah, I've had to cut out a few. Thankfully, they weren't big 8/0 hooks. Mine were, all the times I got stuck have all been bass fishing hooks, a lot smaller, a little easier to deal with.
I ain't never had anything in me less than a 7/0.
As.
Yeah, hieroglyphics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I imagine I'm one of the older ones in the community. I'm pretty sure I'm one of the older ones anyway.
Yeah.
I was telling.
I believe you made a comment to me about being how old you was in it. You said that you knew more about catfish before Lyle could even spell catfish.
I said that other night, messing with Lyle. I would see if he get back to it. We were all in the old brotherhood of catfishing.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, when I mentioned it to him, he said that he didn't like it because they were catching the fish and eating them. And I told him, I said, Tim, that's when I quit eating all of them is when I joined the BOC, the Brotherhood of Catfishermen. So those guys, listening to them talk, is when I started turning the big fish back. And he said, well, I'm glad you had a good, and he said maybe he had a wrong impression, but which I think he did, because the Brotherhood of Catfishermen was strictly catch and release. and they got after folks that went to talking about taking them home and eating them. I saw more than one person get kicked out of that thing because of that. But
what is the Brotherhood of Catfishing?
all right, it was Catfish One. The name of the website was Catfish One, and I was the 13th or 17th member of it. It was privately owned by a fellow named Paul Loudermilk or Louderback. He was a sergeant in the military in Fort Benning, Georgia, and he started this website. And in the first 8 months of this thing, he had to change servers 3 times. And Chuck's coin rings right there. He can, Chuck's coin ring is one of the old members of it. But anyway, he owned the website. He ended up selling the website. And when he sold it 7, 8 years ago, most all of the old members got out of it. And but Lyle was a member. Doc Lang was a member. And those are the only 2. I don't remember Tim Scott. I don't remember Tim being there, but I remember Doc Lang and Lyle being in it. I don't remember anybody else in this community that I've seen that was in the old Brotherhood Catfishing. And it was thousands of people in that thing from all over. And we had what you call gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
And my little group was probably 25. The core group was probably 20, 25 people that would get together, and then we might have a few stragglers come in. In fact, we had people fly their own airplanes from North Carolina over here.
Wow.
To join one of our gatherings to fish on the Mississippi River. And Chuck said he didn't post his pictures because he always took them in his yard, and that meant he was eating them. But Charles CP really ain't never caught about 3 or 4 fish. He buys a lot of his fish from commercial fishermen or catches them. He'll go rod and reel fishing and then run trot lines while he's out there. Other people's trot lines. I've seen him do it. He's kind of a thuggish kind of a fellow. Even though he is my friend, he is kind of thuggish. That's Chuck's coin rings I'm speaking of.
Yeah, I was fixing to shout some out. Had a few come in. I can't say this name. Guerrero Barge.
Bagri.
Yep.
Dallas Libert. Steve Black. Haslife. Chuck Coin Rings. Fat Boy Eric. And Has wasn't in here when you described when you first saw him. On what brought you into YouTube when you started watching him.
Oh, when I saw him after watching the Carnival Act. And then
how about him being out on a hot dog on the water?
Like he's riding in a hot dog bun.
You said a 400-pound man on a hot dog?
Yeah, 400-pound man in a hot dog bun floating around out there trying to catch fish. And I said, this guy going to get wet before this is over with. I really thought he was.
Well, I thought he was going to get wet when that snake tried to climb in his boat. I thought he was getting ready to get out.
He's doing some paddling while he's swatting with him.
Yeah.
Indiana Chris.
Let me shout out Steve Black. Steve Black is one of the older BOC guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's over in Arkansas. He lives in the same community my oldest son lives in. Steve Black's a good guy when he's asleep.
And when he's asleep. Nice to meet you, Steve.
But he got a running buddy. He got a running buddy that's out of this world now, I'm gonna tell you.
Uncle Lou says Catfish One is still going. It's nothing like it was years and years ago.
Yeah, Uncle Lou, that's right. I think Uncle Lou was in there, but I don't remember who he was in there. Yeah. They I remember Doc Lang, his wife's name is Lynn. And I don't I just remembered this. He was in the chat room in the Brotherhood of Catfishing. I think he lived up in Ohio, Illinois, or somewhere up there. And he was making his first trip down to the Ohio River. He was going to meet up with some guys down there and fish. And that Doc Lang is a famous tournament fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he went from, and that was all the Brotherhood stuff. And I met there's a bunch of those guys. Steve Black fishes the big tournaments. It's a whole bunch of those guys that were in the old Brotherhood that went on to get on the tournament and fish the big tournaments, the big money tournaments. They still do. It's a bunch of. I never went that route. I fished a couple of smaller ones, and I didn't like it, and I didn't get in. I stayed doing what I was doing. But yeah, it's a bunch of those guys from the BOC and they do pretty good in those tournaments.
Was that his name right there? He wrote in Muddy One.
What's that now?
Uncle Lou's name, was that it?
Okay, that must have been his name. I don't remember Uncle Lou, but I don't remember that name.
Yeah.
I'm too tight, Bobcat. It costs a lot of money to buy all that electronics and stuff you got to have to try to compete with them guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that name. I probably saw it, but did you ever go in the chat rooms, Uncle Lou? Okay, Steve.
What is your personal best?
75. That fish is in my lap. And the other fish that I'm holding up by the neck, by the head, is he was 70. That was my first 70 pound.
Wow.
The one I'm holding up in the air.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I brought that fish. I caught him about 2-3 miles up the river, and I had anytime I buy, we have a Delta Net and Twine company here. It's like Memphis Net and Twine, but it's smaller.
Yeah.
And every time I buy a dip net, I have them put a long, deep throat in it. I don't never have no trouble with a fish not fitting in my net, like y'all did with the spoonbill, and I see other people.
Yeah.
My net is deep. I think they're 5 feet deep.
Yeah.
Maybe 6. But anyway, I tied that net. I got that, finally got that fish in the net, and I hauled him down the river, drug him down the river real slow in that net, back down to the lake. And a buddy of mine was sitting over there anchored fishing, and I pulled over there. And I said, man, he said, what you got in the net? I said, I got a monster in the net. I said, and I need you to take some pictures. So I'm actually tied up in that picture. I'm tied up to his boat. He's on anchor. And I'm tied up front and back. And I'm standing up on the front of my boat holding that fish up.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of folks at the boat ramp right there. And they were hollering, what is that? What is that? So I put him back in the net and carried him over there. And a bunch of those people took pictures holding that fish.
Wow.
And some of them, I didn't even know who they were. And we turned him loose right there at that boat ramp. But yeah, that was a 70, a little bit over 70, almost 70.5 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then that 75 that's in my lap, I caught him way down below Vicksburg, down south of Vicksburg. I got a couple of other fish in right around the 70s, high 60s, but fishing by yourself, I mean, I got pictures of them laying on the front of the boat. What's that going to do? You can't tell.
Yeah.
You can't tell nothing with them laying on the front of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue when I'm on the dock, at night by myself and trying to hold the fish up and set the timer on my camera, and then I got to run back around it and get I like some of these fish. I'm taking like 12 pictures.
Yeah.
And I want to get the fish back in the water, but I'll look at the picture. Nope, that ain't gonna work. Do it again,
Mhm.
And I hate that I keep the fish out there that long. But when I was doing the 365 thing, I dedicated to take one picture of every fish, so I needed a decent picture.
There you go.
I don't think it really hurts them small ones. Keep them out a little long. 30s and under. I don't think it hurts them that much.
Yeah.
Well, I took a piece of wood, a 2x2, and took my. I think it wasn't a flip phone, but it was right after the flip phone. Had a timer on it, and I took a wood chisel and a hammer, and I chiseled out a thing where I could, and I set it on the back deck of my boat. And that phone was sitting in that slot that I chiseled out, and I set the timer, and I could grab the fish and sit on the front deck. And I practiced up under my carport. My neighbor thought I was going crazy when he saw me doing it because I was holding up a pillow off of the lawn furniture until I got it, and I got the right chopping on that piece of wood, the right way it'd be sitting there right there and take the perfect picture with the top of my head and the fish.
Yeah.
And I know I got a 60, a 65, and a 62 that I caught, that I took with that picture, and the phone went in the river.
Oh.
That phone went in the river with them 3 pictures in it over a period of a year or so, and I didn't do a Facebook thing. I mean, a download. In fact, I don't even know if we had it. I don't even know if I knew how to download a picture onto the internet.
Yeah.
But I lost those 3 pictures, and but that's all right. But I caught them all in the wintertime, cold wintertime. And not on the same day, over a period of a few months. But it's all in the same year, same winter.
Did Lucky leave? That's fixing to have you pet her.
Yeah, I heard him hit the floor. He I guess it's time for a snack.
Yeah. When he comes back in, we'll let you show him to everybody.
I don't know, Jody. You know how that goes.
Yeah, I know exactly how that goes.
I'll have to go get some toilet paper or paper towel or something to wipe the blood.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm gonna get cut if I try to pick him up.
Every night's a highlight. Steve
Makes
gets
for
the
good
call.
ratings, though.
Every night he's gotten away, kind of retracts his claws over the. He's terrible, man. He's a bad cat. Yeah, Danny Stone wants to link to them bikinis down there in Australia.
Yeah.
One of them is Back to Basics Outdoors. Back to the number 2 basics, and I can't remember the other one. And one of them is a marine biologist. One of the girls, and they got boyfriends, it's a man, it's a boy and a girl. But they get out, man, there's some beautiful water down there in Australia, man. Golly.
See if we missed any questions here.
8 Mile Store.
Danny says, that same thing happened to me with a 60-pounder. People took pics with it. The next day, 40 people on Facebook claimed they caught that fish.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a boy from Tupelo. See where our boat ramp is in the park. It's a campground, and a lot of people be in there, camping. And there was a fellow from Tupelo was in there, and he took a picture holding that fish, and he said this one was caught in Pickwick, and I laughed at it because little did he know that I got 4 or 5 good friends right up there in northeast Mississippi that I used to quail hunt with, coon hunt and quail hunt. And so I called him that night when I went home. And I told Jerry, I said, Jerry, it's going to be a pretty good sized picture show up in y'all's newspaper. I bet you it shows up in the Lee County Herald or whatever it is. I said, I bet it's going to show up. I said, but that fish, I caught that fish this afternoon. And this guy from Tupelo wanted to take a picture with it. Said he was going to show it off as a picture caught in Pickwick. That's on the Tennessee River, northeast Mississippi. Anyway, about a week later, Jerry called me and said that son gun did it, man. He said he sure put it in the newspaper. He said, and I wrote a letter to the editor. I said, oh, man. I don't know what became of it, but Jerry called him out on it. That he sure did. He went up there and put it in the newspaper that he caught that fish at Pickwick.
Huh.
But he said he was. So, what do you do when somebody says they're going to do something?
Yeah. I had an interesting thing happen when I caught it ended up being a 49 pounder. At the time it was my PB, but I was fishing out off the dock and it was daylight and I was fighting the fish and he was fighting me pretty good. And my rod was bent in half and these people were motoring up the river on a pontoon boat and they saw me on the dock and they actually stopped their boat, way out of the way. But they waited until I got it up and then they all started cheering for me when I landed them, when I put them up on the dock. And I had to hold them up for them so they could, I don't know if they were taking pictures, but show us your fish, show us your fish.
Well, it's funny you said that, but that fish I'm holding up, like that, I caught him just right outside the channel. And it was a little 2-barge towboat coming down the river. And I was off to the side and he was going southbound. And when I hung this fish, I had 3 poles out. That's the reason I don't fish with all them poles like you see a lot of people. This fish was up against the bank. And he went and I had to cut 2 lines. Just had to take a knife and cut the line. And he ran out across the river, of course. And I got those little 309 pin reels. And I had them spooled with 30-pound test, and that's 300 yards or something. And so I'm standing and that fish goes across that river. He goes across the river till I could see the shine on that spool. And I had this drag set, and so I had a pretty good fight on him. Because if you notice in that picture, that fish was long and skinny.
Yeah.
He was powerful. But I got him turned and he came back to me, and I kept up with him. And he went right back down in that hole. I was fishing straight down ledge. And I was anchored in 8 foot of water, fishing in 50 foot of water. Fishing straight down the hole right there. Yeah. Well, I'm sitting there holding tension on the fish, just holding good pressure. And I can't reel it because I didn't want to get him. I was scared he's going to go back up under a hole, a hole back in there. But finally, after holding that tension on him for so long, and he done swam 250 yards out trying to come back, he started coming up. And I said, man, I'm reeling him up. And I'm standing at the back of the boat, reeling him straight up. Well, I never saw the fish, but when he got to the top of that ledge, and I had the net ready, he went up the river under the boat. So now I got to run, and I go up to the front of the boat, and I got an anchor up there on the rope, and I try to hold him because I don't know exactly how far up there my anchor rope is, even though it's in shallow water and the rope's sticking out there a long ways above the water. And he goes to the left, back towards the river. So I just put my pole under the anchor rope, down on my knees, and got him back up. And he wasn't tangled, and he went across the river again. Well, when he goes out across the river this time, that towboat has stopped out there. And he had his engines in reverse. And on the loudspeaker, the captain says, "How big is he?" And I'm holding the pole like this, and I said, "I don't know how big he is." and he's actually stopped the towboat in the Mississippi River.
Wow.
It just was a 2-barge chemical barge or fuel barge, but he done stopped out there. Stopped it with his engines in reverse. And I finally landed the fish and got him in the net and got him in the boat. And he hollered, hold him up so we can see him. All the deckhands was out on the side of the boat. And they was out there a couple hundred yards. And I picked him up and showed it to him, you know. And
that's great.
And he threw the engine on down the river he went.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Hey, Dallas says the time to worry about Lucky is when you don't see him.
Yep.
He's back.
He's waiting on me. That's my partner. You know he does hurt me.
Yeah.
Watch this. Now I'm gonna reach over at the paddock. He's terrible cat.
Hey, Indy Chris says he sent Danny the link and he said he already had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get rid of that glare behind me.
Yeah, you shine it. Your head, you got a halo. You got a halo, Jody.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one of them light bulbs. See if that helps.
Danny says watching girls in bikinis fish is like saying you go to Hooters for the hot wings.
Now, I got a story about Hooters. And when I was 40 years old, which how many years ago that was, that's when I found my biological daddy. He lived in Northern California. Never met him, never knew him, never knew anything. But anyway, that's when we got contact. I flew out there to meet him. Flew into Sacramento. I walked out of down that chute, down that walkway, looked out over that whole place, and I saw my daddy standing there. I said, yeah, I know who he was. And I've seen pictures of him, you know, after we made contact. It was in 1979, 1985, 80, something, whenever it was, anyhow. We left the airport, and you know where he took me? Straight to a Hooters. First one I've ever been to. Only one I've ever been to. I said, well, this is going to work good here.
Yeah, right?
Where has he been all my life, you know? Yeah, I went straight to the Hooters. Yeah, Radish. The Radish is, that's John Summers. Radish, look up Radish blue catfish. Mm-hmm. And you'll probably see the biggest blue cat you ever saw. Radish blue catfish. And that's who I started fishing with on the Mississippi River. He's my longest friend, I guess. Mm-hmm. Old fishing friend. I got a lot of old friends, but he's the oldest one. He's the one that I started going out there with. He's quite a few years older than me. And yeah, he sets his drag with a set of pliers, and he used 100-pound test line. Uh-huh. And he has caught some monsters. He's kind of the fishing legend in this part of the world. Huh. He caught more fish over 70 pounds than anybody around here. Mm-hmm. He's the same type fisherman as Tim. He catches the big fish.
Yeah, Tim gets on him. Two stands says, them wings at Hooters are delicious. What else do you go for?
Stan wears glasses, and he probably needs a new subscription or prescription.
Yeah, right.
like I told him last night, Stan 3 got to learn from somebody, because if Stan 2 is taking him to Hooters for hot wings, he ain't teaching him nothing else. No, I never hung out with Mark Twain.
All right, let's talk about something else. Ready?
Go for it.
Do it.
You got activity you like doing? Listening to live music.
Oh yeah, I love live music. I had to cut a bunch of it off tonight when this thing started. Yeah, I'm hooked on Key West right now. They have some of the best. I guess they're professional entertainers. I mean, I guess anytime you're doing it for a living, it's professional. But boy, Key West has some great entertainment down there, and they live stream from a bunch of them honky tonks.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and I listen to them a lot of times when I'm watching one of y'all's watching one of the live streams or something. I have the music playing real low,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then listening where I can hear the voices, hear what everybody's saying. And yeah, I love it. Hog's Breath, Willie T's, Smoking Tuna, Sloppy Joe's. There's a bunch of them down there that live stream, and they have bands from all over. And Kansas City is the furthest one away I've ever seen a band. They have some from Atlanta, some from Nashville that come in there.
Mm-hmm.
All of them got big dance floors, and you know, and they having spring break down there right now. It's pretty packed, and I saw last night. It was funny. I was watching. There's a fella named Nick, N-I-C Brownell, Brownell, and he won Entertainer of the Year down there last year, this past 2021, and he's super. Super singer, super guitar player. And he plays all country music. He plays a lot of Dwight Yoakam,
Okay.
Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard. He plays a lot of that kind of music. Roy Orbison.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
I love some Roy Orbison.
Well, you'll love Nick Brownell. Now, sometimes his language is a little bit raunchy.
That don't scare me.
Yeah, well, but last night there was this man and woman, and I call them a man and a woman. They were in there. I don't know. I really don't know how old they were. I'm gonna say in their 30s. Big old boy. Had on a cowboy hat, and the girl looked like she had on a bed sheet. But she could really dance. And he was just kind of standing there watching his girlfriend or his wife. I don't know what it was. And these college kids was over there doing all that crazy jumping up and down like they all do. And this old boy, this college kid backs into her backwards with his butt stuck out and rubbed all up against her. And I blew the screen on. I said, "It's gonna be good here." And her boyfriend or husband, whoever he was, he stood about 6'4". 1 minute that boy's been over with his butt rubbing on his wife or girlfriend, and the next minute he ain't in the picture. All you see is, and I don't know where that kid went, but I guarantee you some tables got turned over. I said, "Man, this reminds me of growing up here." I like that. That big old guy grabbed that fella, that kid, and threw him across that place. And he didn't come back on the dance floor. Now I don't know where he went. They probably kicked him out but I watched a lot of that stuff, and that's the only time I ever saw anybody get out of line. You know, usually when you got a bunch of women, a bunch of music, and a bunch of beer and whiskey, you're gonna see a lick or two.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, and that's the first time I've ever seen anybody down there get out of line. But that kid got out of line, and of course he got out of line with the wrong guy. It was a big old boy, man. He slung that boy across the dance floor, out of the camera. I don't know where he went, but yeah, I love watching and listening to him play that music. I don't listen to the radio, and I don't listen to music. Period. But I love watching live music.
Susquehanna Stan has a theory. He says he probably went to the hospital.
He may have. But now that man didn't go after him. He stayed. I could still see part of him in the picture there.
Yeah.
The girl was just standing there like, what was this all about?
Yeah, I love live music. We used to go to tons of concerts, growing up more so, but even until COVID hit, we used to go to a couple every year, would go see some of the big name bands. But I'm pretty much stuck in the 60s and the 70s.
Well, me too. I love Motown. I love Elvis.
Yep. Love Motown.
I've seen Ray Charles.
Wow.
4 times.
Huh.
James Brown twice.
Wow. We got to see B.B. King not too long before he passed. And that same year, we saw Buddy Guy at a different place. And I actually got one of Buddy Guy's autographed guitar straps. That was cool.
Well, I'm going to tell you about B.B. King. I don't know if I've got a buddy that I sent this link to. His name is VJ. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't know if he's in here or not. But he'll verify this if he is. I've seen folk get up and leave when B.B. King took the stage. That's how good a blues man he was.
Huh.
He wasn't no blues man. He lived on the curtain. I hate to talk about the people that's gone. But man, the old blues players in the Deltas, he wasn't one of them now. I'm telling you, he didn't rank. On a scale of 1 to 10, he's about a 2. But he was the last one, you see, and that makes him famous. But John Lee Hooker, Muddy Waters,
Sonny Boy Williamson,
Bobby Blue Bland.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that, and I've seen all of them.
Old Elmore James.
Well, I never seen him. Little Milton. Anyway, that's a different story. That's back in the late 50s and 60s. That's when those guys were still around down here, and they come back and play in had a super big honky tonk 2 miles from my hometown. That it was called the Harlem Inn. A fellow named Hezekiah Patton owned it. And little Hezekiah's son took it over after big Hezekiah let it go. And this was in the 50s and 60s, but in the Mississippi Delta. But the white kids and the black guys, we used to go watch the blues singers.
Yeah.
No problems. Not ever one single problem. And we could go to the Harlem Inn, and that's back in the day when they put the big posters on the light poles. Who's going to be there?
Yep.
But I guess my favorite of all time blues song was "Boom Boom Boom Boom" by John Lee Hooker. I love that song. And the first time I watched Nick Brownell down in Key West, he played that song. Only time I've ever heard him play it, and he played it that night.
Wow. I like, I believe he did. Didn't he do Little Red Rooster?
Probably so.
I think that was him. But in '89, when the Stones got back together, they kicked off their show in their tour in Atlantic City. And they had Eric Clapton come up. And he played the solo in that, and he was just wailing. And you can see Mick Jagger look at Keith Richards, and the smile on his face is like, because to me, Clapton is a 10 times better guitar player than Keith Richards. I love Keith Richards, but Clapton to me, like he just brought that song to a new level, and they were just like in awe watching him do it. And then I actually got to see that tour. I actually drove I took a bus ride up to Montreal, and we got to see the Steel Wheels tour. So, but yeah, I love the old blues. Love them.
I saw Tina Turner at Delta State. I took Kay up there to watch Tina Turner. I sure did.
Huh.
She had that her little dance group, or the three girls was dancing with her, were Oriental girls, and one of them skirt fell off up there on the stage. She shook her clothes off. And didn't quit dancing. Kept right on. Didn't miss a lick. That place was packed. You couldn't put another person in there. Yeah.
Tim O'Hare loves Bobby Bland.
Yeah.
And Little Milton.
Yeah. And I've seen all those guys in person back, just sitting from here to that wall right there from them.
Huh.
But you got to understand, where I grew up, and where I still live, that blues singers were a dime a dozen. Hundreds of them, probably thousands. On the plantation, like I said, it was 20, 25 houses there. And late in the afternoons, you could hear the men and the women sitting on their porches at the end of the day, playing the blues and singing it. You could stand out in the front yard and you could hear it all up and down the road. And it wasn't a big deal to people around here. It wasn't a big deal because you heard it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we you know, this is the home of the blues where I live, right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Of course, I'm a big Jimi Hendrix fan.
Well, that's way on the past the blues, though.
Yeah.
But all those guys, especially those English musicians, they all got their kick from the blues. Yeah,
a lot of them they credit Chuck Berry and a lot of those guys. Those were their influences. Clapton and the Stones, they all say that.
Chuck Berry's nephew. Now, he claimed to be Chuck Berry's nephew. Now, we don't know for sure. But he showed up in our hometown. He had an electric guitar. He had that straight up hair. And he said he was Chuck Berry's nephew. Okay. You know the Blues Highway, 61 Highway is known as the Blues Highway.
Yeah.
Well, 61 Highway was the main street of the town I grew up in. It had two red lights on it in my hometown. It came right through the center of my hometown, straight out of Memphis, headed south. So he shows up at the service station where we all hang out. He got his guitar, got an amp, and everything. Hitchhiking. And he said he wanted to know if there was any way he could play. And we said, "Can you play?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm Chuck Berry's nephew." He said, "Sure, I can play." He said, "Well, plug up over there." And the man told him that on the place said, "Plug up over there, right in the middle of town. Plug up and hit a few tunes." Well, he plugged that thing up and did all that they do to the guitar. And the next thing you know, he was playing the song. And, man, he sounded good. So he said, "Are you hungry?" And, "Yeah, I want something to eat." So the rest cafe right down the road, they went down there and brought him something to eat. Took a piece of 3/4 inch plyboard, full piece, 4x8. Put it on the grease rack. Set him up on the grease rack, on that and raised him up about 2 feet. And set a bucket out there. And he started playing, and I don't know how much money that man made that night, that afternoon and that night, playing that guitar. I know he didn't have to leave there hitchhiking.
Yeah.
You know, he could have got him a good bus ticket anyway he wanted. I mean, this back in the day when $1, you could buy a world of stuff for $1. And
yeah.
Some of the men that would come up there, they didn't throw a $5 bill in there. You know, I put 50 cents in the bucket, but but we saw. I mean, that wasn't uncommon right there in my home. But I don't know who that fellow was, and he showed back up a year or two later, maybe the next year, because he made a lot of money. So he came back through and he stopped there and he played all of Chuck Berry's songs. Johnny Be Good and Oh, no. And he could do that scooting. Of course, he couldn't do a lot of scooting up on that piece of 3/4 inch plywood without
Yeah,
turning
right.
Yeah, man. And heck, I bet you it's 40 people came up there at one
Huh.
time. And then, at one time it'd be 40 people, but people that all coming up. And it was black and white folks. I mean, we was all up there listening to him. He was really good.
So the songs like what? Maybelline, Sweet 16.
All of it, yeah, he did them
Yeah,
all. Plus, he did
great
a bunch
stuff.
of others. He did a bunch of Elvis songs.
Huh.
He did a bunch of them. He did them all.
Yeah, I still get into the blues. There's some contemporary, what they call contemporary blues nowadays, but Robert Cray and Joe Bonamassa. I love they're putting out some great blues records in this generation.
That wasn't in California, Tim. That was in Arizona. You talking about the Jackrabbits? Oh man! Don't ever try to eat. If you starve them to death, try to find something besides a jackrabbit to quench your appetite.
Danny says, I used to be in a band called Free Barbecue. When the billboard said free bar B from 8 to 12, everybody showed up.
Yeah, everybody showed up wanting to come get them something free.
Yeah.
Yeah, VJ was in on that rabbit shooting in Arizona. I don't know if he's in here or not. He hadn't typed anything. Oh, the bad spam. That's it. I don't know. They made it. In 59, this coach I was telling y'all about carried me and 4 of my buddies on a camping trip all the way from Shelby to the Pacific Ocean and back.
Ah.
And you had to put up $100 to get in this trip, on this trip. So I sold Christmas cards you could use to from Boys Life magazine.
Right.
And you sell all this. And my folks told me that if I could sell $50 worth of cards, they'd put up 50. So I did.
Huh.
And I got signed up. Well, I had a certain date I had to make sure because they held my spot until a certain date. If I got my money by the end, I could be in it. So I got it. So when we make a turnaround in California, coming back this way, yeah, he's a music expert, Chris. He's way more up on it than me. I had $6 in my pocket. Headed to Mississippi from Los Angeles with $6. And I think VJ, he didn't have $6. I think he's more like $4.50, $5. So he and I bought a big old jar of marmalade, orange marmalade, and a loaf of bread and peanut butter. And we still had a little money left, but that's what we bought. And we coming back across, camping every night. And me and VJ eating marmalade and peanut butter. And we hit that desert somewhere out there in Arizona. This is way yonder before interstates now. The Route 66 was a 2-lane highway. And we ended up at this place, middle of the day. Old beat up building on the side of the road in the desert, 2-story building. And we pulled in and had a bench or two out there and a picnic table under some little old scrubby bushes tree. And we went in there. Everybody's going to get them something to eat. And me and VJ said, well, we're going to get us some Vienna sausage or something. We ain't been eating marmalade and peanut butter. So we go in there, all 6 of us. And this fella says he got on cowboy clothes. He said, look at all the buckaroos. He called us buckaroos. And it turns out this was an old Wells Fargo stagecoach stop.
Huh.
So he said. Now, I don't know. He has a few items on the shelf, but look, man, with me and VJ bought us a can of Spam a piece. And the dust was so thick on it, you couldn't even hardly get the key. This was when they had the key on it. They had to break the key.
Yep.
Well, we got the key off of this Spam, and we're going to have us some meat. And we go outside and we turn that key, and when I hold that top on that spam, there was a little green ball in the middle of the bottom of that can, about big as a big marble. It was green, that fuzz growing all up.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man, it was, and so no meat. So we go on down, and the coach asked the guy about going down this road, just out in the desert and camp, and all. Ain't nobody going. So they won't buy you. We went out there, and we ate our marmalade, and I can't remember how we got to seeing the jackrabbits, but we got the keys to the car, and one of my buddies had a nylon 66 22 rifle, and this car was a convertible. And we go back out this road, and the jackrabbits, you could see them coming across the desert. And them damn things look like kangaroos coming. And chick, now the rabbits would get in that road, and chick go, tick, 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 tick. And then that rabbit would go on. Me and VJ was hungry now. Hell, we wanted to kill a rabbit. So finally, I got the gun. And here comes this rabbit, and he hopped up in that road, and I popped it. When we got the rabbit, we went back to camp, and they stink. VJ got a fire going and built a fire, and I skinned that rabbit, and look, man, we cooked that rabbit over the top of that fire. And I just tried to eat the sole off my shoes, try to eat that rabbit. Well, no way to eat a jack. You can't eat it. You'd have to parboil him for a week. So I went, man. Nothing but marmalade and peanut butter. No food, no meat. One night I didn't have scurvy or something.
Scurvy.
Ain't that what you get from not eating meat?
I thought that's what you got on when you was a pirate, scurvy.
Yeah, that's from not eating meat.
Yeah.
But anyway, I made it all the way from Los Angeles back to Shelby on I don't know how many thousand miles that is, but it's a bunch of them. Eating marmalade and peanut butter. My mama didn't even recognize me when they let me out, and I got my few little backpack stuff.
Yeah.
I was so dark because I spent the whole summer in the convertible in the desert with nothing but a pair of cut off blue jeans on or swimming suit.
Yeah.
She looked at me like, "What's wrong with you, boy?"
It's not eating fruit.
But lack of vitamin C. Well, we had plenty of vitamin C. that orange marmalade wasn't nothing but vitamin C. All right. Well, let me hush for a minute and see if there's anything else.
Think over things.
Yeah, I got a few more. Avid came in. I don't know if we had mentioned him. Mr. Kitty Whiskers, your boy Troy, and Quiet Man Curtis, I've noticed.
Dink over stink.
Yep, Dink over stink. Absolutely. And Dink, I don't know if you saw the message I left for you in somebody's chat the other day, but I did get your stickers in the mail. Thank you very much. I think that catches us up. If anybody has any questions, now would be a great time. Make sure you, if you can, put one of the red question marks or the stop sign so I can see it. So let's talk about some fishing, Steve.
Yeah.
What you got going on this year?
Well, it's all bank fishing, and hopefully when the water warms up a little bit, a couple of these spots I've been fishing will pay off. They sure didn't do much with the cold water. It didn't do anything really, and I've got 3 pretty good places. They look good, you know. It looked good to me. But I hadn't since when did you start your challenge, Jody? November?
No, I ended in November. I think I started in either September.
Well,
or October 1.
Well, by the time I didn't get in the first one for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, that hadn't been any good. The 2 or 3 spots right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a few days, Chris, because it's cold down here. Start getting down in the 30s at night, and I ain't going. I got other things. The couch feels a lot better than it ain't 30 on that couch.
Yeah, right.
But
Jody's going to get some snow this weekend.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope to catch. I'm gonna catch a few flatheads out there on the river in that spot. I caught 4.
Nice.
And I ate one of them last night.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
I
had
got.
catfish last night.
Huh?
That's what I had for supper last night was catfish.
Yeah, I gut hooked one, and I brought him home, and we ate him last night. I caught him. It ain't gonna do her no good, Mark, because I don't. I was born at night. It just wasn't last night. I don't fall for no challenges. That's one thing I was telling Jody today or last night on the telephone, that I don't remember being in the Brotherhood of Catfishing when there's all of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you open your mouth here, somebody gonna challenge you.
I know.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that in the Brotherhood of Catfishing. Man. We didn't do all that, and of course it don't bother me because I ain't gonna get in none of it anyway. I don't catch enough fish to even dream about doing it. But I wouldn't.
Jody and I were talking earlier, and she mentioned something about a 1v1 and me in a nightgown or something. I don't know about that. I'll do the dock walk, but I don't know about a nightgown.
You can do the dock walk in a nightgown.
I don't know if Walmart carries a nightgown big enough for me.
Oh yeah, we'll find you one. I'll get to pick it out, okay?
Yeah, right.
Well, it's plenty of it goes around.
We had Ricky Solo Texas Adventures come in and Reef Robert Earl. Howdy do?
Yeah, welcome everybody. And Bugman has it right.
Don't say that.
Exactly right. Hey, Troy.
I can't get nobody hardly bet anymore. I need to instead of saying "do not bet," Jody, say, "Oh yeah, go ahead and take a bet." Say that because everybody gets to benefit from it.
Yeah. Well, you have lost one bet.
Yeah, I saw that kaplunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to be the towel holder.
Yeah, I was standing there watching. You all walked out on that ramp and walked, and all of a sudden, katoosh.
Yep. She took it like a champ, though.
She paid her debt.
That's right. Yep. She took it like a champ.
Hey, Steve Locke.
Hey, Steve. Welcome.
Hey, Steve.
We still got 49 people in here, Steve.
Yeah. Well, it's fixing to be 48 because I got to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
All righty.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, David Smith. I haven't heard that one, but that's a good one there. Catfish baptism.
So Michelle wants to know, Catfishing Curtis, what's your go-to bait for spring flatheads?
He's probably going to have some of that fancy Italian meat with cheese. Ain't that what he usually uses?
I don't know.
All kinds of gourmet meat.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Let's see if he has an answer yet. If he saw it.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not that I saw, anyways. All right, so you're going out tomorrow night, right, Jody?
Yep. Ain't we calls? You going out tomorrow, right? With me, right?
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I got it. Oh. So is that Lucky or Mama Kitty?
That's Lucky.
Huh.
everybody just wait for it.
He's changed his tune.
No, it's not.
No. All right, so Catfishing Curtis had a question. Steve, what's your go-to bait for spring flatheads?
Skipjack. Oh, for spring flatheads, bullheads, live bullheads.
Yeah.
I use bullheads for when I'm flathead fishing, but I'm gonna try some cut bullheads this year.
Better take that comment down. We'll miss it.
I'm getting it now. That tail is just a working boy.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
Meow. There he goes.
Clean, safe.
Good dismount.
Yep. You got lucky.
Yeah, I did. He's getting better. He's getting a little better.
How old is he?
He'll be 4 this year.
Okay.
3. I'll have to look. It's 3 or 4.
Yeah.
We found him. My wife found him, and he had given up. He was just a tiny kitten up here at the 4-way stop, red light up here, 4-lane intersection. And he was in the left lane, and he was hunkered down and had given up. He's gone. He fell out of a vehicle or something. We don't know. But she got out of the car. You just can't. She just couldn't leave the kitten lay, and a truck behind her pulled over and blocked the lane. And sideways right there to keep anybody from coming up there. And she got the little kitten and carried him up to the vet. And brought him back to the house, and that's where the name Lucky came from. Anyway, I raised him right here, and I had to go buy a pet carrier.
Yeah.
And I raised him right there on the couch. I happened to be one of those spells, one of those times going through when my back was bothering me, and I was staying at home. I have a little back problem from time to time, and when it hits me, I just can't do anything. And so I stayed right here with him, and I'd get him out of the pet carrier and pet on him and put him back and feeding him and emptying the litter box that was up in the little pet carrier with him. And we bonded, I guess is what you call it.
Yeah.
And then Mama Kitty was a stray that showed up here at the house.
Mm-hmm.
But
So Tim Tim had a question, and I think you answered this earlier, but I don't think Tim was here yet. So if you would like to address that for him.
Well, Tim, Coach, did you ever learn to kill a pig? No, I've never killed a pig. Never have. I've had other people kill them and load them in the truck and carry them to the butcher. But I've never been able to kill one of them. Not that I raised. And I ain't never tried to kill anybody else's pig.
You ever kill wild hogs?
No, never. Now, I've killed domestic hogs in my bean field before.
Yeah.
That was a fella that out there by my farm that he started off with 2 little pigs, and in about a year, the same little pen for 2 little pigs turned into 52 pigs.
Huh.
And he was a coast-to-coast truck driver. and his wife was feeding the hogs. They started off as pigs. They
Yeah.
turned into a bunch of pigs, and then they turned into hogs, and then the fence wasn't there no more.
Mm-hmm.
And they were running wild across the countryside. And they'd get, when you plant soybeans in the spring, they put that snoot down in that road behind that planter and follow that, eating it. So I went uptown. I went to a lawyer there in town, and I asked him, I said, man, what is the law on hogs eating your crops before they ever come up?
Yeah.
And he said, you can kill them, but you can't pick them up. You got to leave them laying.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
He read the Mississippi law. So I went and told the girl, the woman, I said, look, these pigs are destroying all our soybean crops around here. We didn't raise corn in those days. And I said, the law says that we can shoot them. We just can't pick them up. We got to leave them laying. I said, there ain't no way you're going to get up all these hogs. She said, no, son, there ain't no way I can get them. She said, you're just going to have to kill them. I said, well, if I kill one in the morning, I'll come up here and send somebody up here and tell you. You can get him and butcher me if you want to. So I started carrying a 30-30 on the tractor with me. And I killed a bunch of them now.
Yeah.
But they was eating my crop up. Do you clip fins and bull heads? No, yeah, I clipped the horns. The side fins on them I call horns, Danny, and I take my side cutters and poop as soon as I catch them. Because I wear a good thick leather glove when I go out there and catch a bullhead, and I don't cut them up real close, and I make sure I cut them off square. I don't cut them off at an angle, because if you cut them off at an angle, you just well leave them on there, because you still cut.
Yeah.
But I make sure I cut them off perfectly straight up and down. And I cut that point off of them about an inch back, and that's how I do it.
Mr. Duggar's in the house. Greetings, Earthlings.
Howdy. How you doing, Mr. Duggar?
Duggar, I hope things are better, man. I don't know. I hadn't seen a post today. I hope you're hanging in there, bud. Hey, Jake Fox.
Jay Fox Hunter just joined. Welcome.
Howdy, Jay Fox.
So, Steve, I think I saw that you went live a couple of days ago when you were fishing.
Yeah, fish. They call it the mud hole.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Duggar.
Oh, man, Doug. Well, she's in a better place, man. That's what you got to believe.
Yeah, very sorry, Duggar.
So sorry.
My prayers go out to you and your family.
Lots of. Yeah, you don't want a loved one to suffer, man. Well, that kind of put a damp on things.
Yeah.
Sad. Doug is one of the ones that's my age.
I didn't realize that.
Well, he's the closest one to my age, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Duggar live at all. I don't think I've seen a picture of him even.
He's a retired commercial fisherman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from down South Louisiana.
He's got some shorts.
Or Texas or South Louisiana one.
Okay.
He's one that straightened me out on these shrimp that we have in the Mississippi River. That's how I got to know him. Because I thought these shrimp that we catch out here in the river, the big old shrimp,
right?
I thought they were the regular shrimp that went back out in the saltwater. But he told me those go back to the marsh. They're not the big shrimp that you buy to boil and eat at home. The something royal reds. But now these shrimp we catch are good to cook. They're good to eat, but they don't go back to out in the pure salt. They go to the marsh.
Okay.
But they all come up the Mississippi River to breed, I just took it for granted they were the shrimp that go back out in the Gulf, but they're not. But he got me straight on that a few months ago.
Huh. As long as they taste good, don't matter where they come from, right?
Well, it's a lot of these guys. I think Don R is your age. No, I'm a lot older than Don R. Don R is a baby. He acts like a baby. He just looks old.
All right. Anybody else got anything? I think we've gone through all of the notes that we had. Oh, you're an Elvis fan, I hear.
Yeah, I was an Elvis fan. My mother before she died got to see Elvis. I think his last concert. Now I don't remember where she went. I don't know if it's in Memphis or Dallas or somewhere. But she got to see Elvis. Wait now, let me qualify that. In 50, let's see, I was 6 years old. In 47 and 6 is 53. All right. That's when my stepfather and my mother got married. And so it was 54 or 55. Elvis was in Clarksdale. He used to come to Clarksdale, Mississippi and play at the, I think they called it the City Auditorium or something. But anyway, we had an old truck, and I sat outside in the truck in the wintertime about to freeze to death. But they got to see Elvis then, and this is before Elvis was Elvis. Before he was the king. But they used to go up there and see Elvis and Conway and Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins. There's a bunch of guys in Memphis, a bunch of folks in Memphis. Anyway, we used to go to Clarksdale, and I had to sit out there in the daggum truck while they went in there to listen. But she got to see Elvis as the king in later years. Yeah.
So what's your favorite Elvis song?
Heartbreak Hotel. Or Love Me Tender.
My dad was a huge, I love it. I like Elvis, like him a lot. My dad was a huge fan. To this day, I still buy him Christmas and birthdays. We get him Elvis memorabilia of some type or something. But I think my favorite's Suspicious Minds.
Yeah, that's a good one. We used to call Elvis when was his birthday? In August? When was his birthday? February?
I'm not familiar with that.
He died August 16th, right?
I'm not sure.
I think he died on my anniversary, my wife's anniversary. But his birthday, I think, is in February. And I grew up 100 miles south of Memphis, about 90 miles south of Graceland. And we used to call Elvis, call Graceland I think his birthday is in February. It's in the wintertime, seems like. We used to call him on his birthday every year. We never talked, and we never nobody ever answered the damn telephone. But we called him every year. And we were going to sing happy birthday to Elvis. But that was all the way through high school. And not elementary, but junior high and high school, we called February 8th, Danny said. We called him every February 8th. We called, man. We called 6-7 times, and they never would answer. And heck, we might not even been calling Graceland. We thought we was calling Graceland.
Dave Fox Hunter said January the 8th.
Yeah, but Danny Stone said February the 8th. I'm thinking it's February the 8th. I may be wrong now.
Well, I'm going to have to go with January the 8th because It's All Mine says that. And if I contradict her, I'll be on the couch tonight. So,
well, maybe it is January the 8th. But I know it's in the cold part of the year for down here.
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards J Fox than Danny.
Well, you know, Danny's a musician.
Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
Danny's
Well,
crazy
he
too.
says he missed a month. Okay.
Well, I
Okay.
also, Steve, one year for Valentine's Day, I got Michelle a little stuffed. I don't know, it almost looked like, it didn't even look like a bear. It kind of looked like the Cheetos guy. But he held a little balloon that said Happy Valentine's Day or whatever, I love you or whatever. But he played, when you hit him, he played Hunka Hunka Burning Love, and he
Hunka
moved
Hunka
sideways
Burning
and the
Love.
head swayed. So Michelle
Yeah.
hates that song now because she got tired of me playing it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Elvis kind of went through that movie transition where his music wasn't, I didn't like it. But that early music and his late music, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't care nothing about the Blue Hawaii and all them songs, but
Yeah.
but that
And he
early
did a
stuff.
lot of covers too. I don't know how many songs I've seen, because YouTube is now, you can see a lot of his older performances, and he did a lot of great songs that weren't his, that were
Yeah.
famous by other people,
Well, his spiritual songs albums, man. Of course, that's how he started, was singing in church. But boy, his spiritual songs are really great. I love to listen to him sing. And when he sings, Ole Miss adopted it as their, now they've outlawed it. But you know, the fight song at Ole Miss used to be Dixie.
Mhm.
And the place would go wild when they played Dixie up there at Hemingway at the stadium. And I don't know who recorded this song, but it's from Dixie with Love. I think it's the name of the song, where they play part of the Battle Hymn of the Republic and part of Dixie, and it kind of fades in and out of each other.
Huh.
And he really does a good job on that. And of course, they've outlawed all that at Ole Miss now with Broken Hearts,
Yeah.
Uh,
Man has a. Oh, sorry, wrong one. It skipped on me.
Yeah.
Van says Elvis and David Bowie both were born on January the 8th. That's some good company right there.
Yeah.
I couldn't name you one David Bowie song, but if somebody sang one, y'all said that's David Bowie, I probably heard the song. I don't, like I said, I don't listen to records. I don't listen to music. Live music is all I listen to. Now I know most of the CCR songs. I know when a CCR song comes up.
Yeah. Well, you might know. Obviously, you know Bing Crosby, right?
Yeah.
He did when Bing Crosby had his show. He recorded a Christmas song with David Bowie. They did the Little Drummer Boy together,
Okay.
and it was outstanding. Today, it's still my favorite Christmas song.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, we used to watch the Ozark Jubilee on television. It was Red Foley. You know what I'm talking about, Red Foley? Pat Boone's father-in-law.
Oh, okay, I know Pat Boone. Yeah.
His father-in-law, Red Foley, had a television show called, I believe it's called the Ozark Jubilee.
Huh.
It was out, I think, Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
And it came on Saturday nights, I think. And it's back when there wasn't 3 channels. Now it's all out of Memphis.
Uh-huh.
And they had all of course, this is all the country music folks. They had all the big, if they were any, but country music wasn't a thing in those days.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a big deal back in the 50s. But yeah, that was the first music I ever really watched. Those guys. And Willie Nelson, a little trivia, Willie Nelson auditioned for it and they got turned down. And they took his wife. His wife was on the show.
Oh, wow.
One of Willie Nelson's, I don't know how many times he's been married, but
yeah.
They both auditioned and they turned Willie down.
Wow. I bet they regretted that.
Well, you know, the show was long gone, but before Willie ever, became famous.
Yeah.
He really didn't get famous till he got good and high.
Huh. Yeah,
I
right.
don't think at that point in time he knew what marijuana was.
That's like in my era of music, I find it amazing that Jimi Hendrix opened for the Monkees. If you remember the group, the Monkees from the TV show.
Yeah.
So we have Ace Catfishing came in, Bex from No Real Loss, and Van have come in. Welcome, everybody.
I don't know when Hank Williams. I think Hank Williams may have been dead before Ozark Jubilee came along. I'm not positive on that. I don't know when Hank Williams died, but I mean Hank Senior. I'm not. Waylon, I coon hunt. I fox hunted. I fox hunted with Waylon several times.
Oh wow!
Yeah, sat around the fire and listened to the dogs run several times with Waylon Jennings. He had a first cousin, TJ, that lived here in Greenville, and me being in the coon hunting community, we bumped into each other at different times when they were running the fox dog out and about, and I got to know him pretty well. And hey, man, and when they would run their dogs in the summertime, or when I wasn't running my coon dogs, sometimes I'd go with them, and Waylon would show up because he's from over. Waylon's from over Forsyth. It's over a little bit east, a little bit west of me. So I think Waylon is from the same place Johnny Cash and maybe Bear Bryant. I think all three of them from the same little town over there, I believe.
Huh. We have Robert Modlin just came in. That's a new name to me. Says, look up Preacher Bob.
Look up Preacher Bob. Okay. Hey, Robert. Preacher.
Yeah, the catfishing one come in too earlier. Let's see his name. Big City Catfish.
Okay, I missed that one. Sorry. Welcome, Big City. Michelle says Hank Sr. died on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1953.
I'm not sure when Ozark Jubilee came along, but I don't believe it was in 53. I believe a little bit a year or so later. I'm not sure. Oh, I don't know, Charles. When you gonna invite me up to hunt some Civil War stuff in a good spot? I'm all for it, but it's got to be a place I can dig up about $3,000 or $4,000 worth of stuff in an hour or two. I'm all about money.
There you go, squeaking again.
If I'm gonna pay $5 for gas, I got to pay my bill.
So
I needed it.
When you were detecting, what would you say would be the most unique or the most valuable thing you found?
Oh golly, Tom, that's I think Louis Prima and Keely Smith. No, I know who they are, but I watch them on TV. Tom, I'm more into the history of the stuff than what is valuable, what its value is. Right here in this closet behind me, I've got a can of Civil War percussion caps. And it holds 104 percussion caps. It's got, I think it got 90 something in it now.
Wow.
And the reason I know it holds 104 because I poured them all out when I got it kind of clean on a piece of sandpaper, a big piece of sandpaper, and took a match and stirred them and got all of the green, you know how gunpowder or
right.
a little bit of green, and got them all back fairly clean and put them back in that can one at a time. And the bottom row holds 52 caps. The second row I think it's got 50 in it, and I took new caps and put 4 more in it that made, well, however many it was, to fill it out to 52, and it holds 52 caps,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gold plated.
Wow.
The can is gold gilded.
Mhm.
Well, what that was is, the armies that came through, they had sutlers that followed the armies. Sutlers were rolling stores, wagons pulled that they sold goods to the army out of. They
Huh.
followed these armies, northern and southern armies.
Mhm.
And being gold gilded meant that this soldier bought this can from a sutler, because they wasn't issued gold tinted cans. They were in it. The tin cans was what they were issued.
Mhm.
And 54 percussion caps is important because when there was a battle, this is all official records. You can read it and study it. I have read it and studied it. When there was a battle, protocol on both armies called for issuing a soldier 40 rounds of bullets and an extra 12 percussion caps.
Hmm.
So that's 52 percussion caps, because some of them miss fire.
Right.
52 and 52 is 104.
Wow.
So that's very historical. That can
Hmm.
is very historical.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah,
now
I like the Civil War trivia. I'm not as well read up on it as I should be, but growing up in Massachusetts, there really wasn't something big. The Revolutionary War was big up there.
well, y'all go way back further.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
like since I've been down in the Virginia, Maryland, D.C. area,
you're right
kind
in
of
the
got
middle of
into
it.
the battlefields around here, and I absolutely love Gettysburg. It's such a solemn place, but I could just go right around there and just sit and watch and think and imagine what was going on there. I could do that all day long.
And CP's been to the battlefield at Gettysburg.
Hmm.
Chuck Cornring.
Okay.
And I have a find that there's a name, and you being from Virginia, you may have been down there. You ever heard of Hampton Roads, Virginia?
Oh yeah, my son lives in Hampton, Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Hampton is what's the name? Hampton. What's a Hampton name? What's his man's first name? Dad gum, my mind gone blank. It was not Ray. What? Oh, there's a interstate that runs east and west across there named after Hampton. Wade Hampton. Wade.
Okay.
Wade Hampton is a big politician pre-Civil War from South Carolina.
Okay.
He bought 3 plantations right here in my county that I live in right now. It's a lake down here south of me called Lake Washington. It's a big dead oxbow lake. It's cut off from the river. He bought 3 big plantations down here. All right. He sent his Wade Hampton Jr., I believe that's right, down here over here to live to take care of the plantation. Well, CP and I and another fellow found the original home site of this Hampton guy on the plantation. It's a field now. It took several trips for us to find it, but we found it. But anyway, the first thing that I found at this particular site was the end rifle band. They call it a barrel band off the end of a rifle musket. It's got the front sight on it and the band that held the wood and the barrel together out there on the very end of those little long. And it's off of a Amsterdam or Potsdam. I think it's Amsterdam. Amsterdam model 1804. Rifle.
Wow.
It's a end barrel band. Of Amsterdam model 1804 rifle musket. Okay, found that there. It's in perfect, almost perfect condition. And I looked it all up and found out what this was. It's unique. You can tell it's what it that it's for that gun because of the way it's made, where the top sight is, what the top sight looks like, the way the ramrod sticks up in through it. Anyway, so I went back and I did some research on this Wade Hampton. Well, Wade Hampton Jr. or Wade Hampton III, now I get confused on those two, was General Andrew Jackson's aide de camp at the Battle of New Orleans.
Huh.
Okay.
Right.
I'm at his house where he lived on his plantation. And the rifle that was issued to the troops, Andrew Jackson's troops at the Battle of New Orleans, was the Amsterdam Model 1804 rifle musket.
Huh.
So I'm at the man's house that was an aide de camp to Jackson at the Battle of New Orleans, and that was the rifle that was issued. Now, it's either some soldiers came back home with him, or that's off of his rifle that was at the Battle of New Orleans.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's the kind of stuff I like to get into more than the value of something.
Right. Right. Well, to me, that value to me isn't necessarily monetary. It's how much you cherish it. You know.
Well, I only two things I've ever sold, and I sold both of them for a 6-pack of Budweiser. I sold a marble for a 6-pack of Budweiser. Jody snoring.
Could be.
Hear snoring? Hear snoring?
Yeah. Yeah.
I found a marble one time, and I was at a little old town 40, 50 miles from here. And there was a fella come in there one day in the store and asked me, you ever find any marbles? I said, yeah, I pick them up all the time. He said, man, if you ever find any marbles, I'd like to buy them from you. All right. So anyway, I was back out there a day or two later, and I picked up this marble in the field. I never seen a marble as pretty as this marble. He's a big farmer down there. When he showed up, he said, you find any marbles today? I said, I found one. He said, let me see it. I said, no. I said, you give me a 6-pack of Budweiser out of the box over there, and I'll give you the marble. He said, man, I ain't going to give you no beer without seeing the marble. I said, well, then you ain't going to see the marble. And he said, is it pretty? And I said, I guarantee you ain't got one like it. You never seen one like it. I said, and it's a marble, but it's going to cost you a 6-pack. I got to see it. I said, well, you're not going to see it. So he sat down over there, and the next thing you know, you're not going to let me see that marble. I said, no, I told you the deal. And the man that owned the store said, he done made you the deal, Cliff. If you want that marble, you might as well go to the beer box. So he did, and I gave him the marble. Man, he fell in love. He loved that marble.
Huh.
I told you I wasn't going to mess you. But anyway, then I found a baggage claim, a baggage baggage tag off of a railroad. And it was a railroad that was in operation during the Civil War that ran from somewhere up to, it came down through Memphis and through Jackson and on to New Orleans. I forget the initials of the railroad. But there's a railroad collector here in Greenville that I used to sit on Sundays and watch the river with. Sunday mornings, he's always over there, and he told me if I ever found anything railroad related, he'd like to try to get it from me. And I found that baggage claim, and it was early 1800s. His metal was made out of brass. You snoring, Jody.
I was out.
I didn't
I was
mean
out
to be
laying
that.
back in the chair like this.
I know. I heard you snoring. I thought it was lucky.
Is that why I got called woke up?
I guess. But anyway, he's not a he doesn't he doesn't drink. I
It's
didn't
nap
know.
time, man.
Yeah.
But he doesn't drink, and he didn't want to buy the beer. He's gonna give me the money. I said, no, that's the deal. You going in the store and buy the beer. I'm gonna sit out here in the truck. and I forced him into going in there and getting her. But that's the only two things I've ever gotten rid of. I've given a bunch of bullets and things away to people, Civil War project bullets, farmers and stuff that I find it on that land. I find 5 or 6, I get in 1, 2.
Yeah.
But I found a lot of neat stuff.
Tim said he followed Aqua Chigger, and he is always finding old Civil War relics.
Yeah, Tim's up. Aqua Chigger is up there in Virginia, and in Virginia they in prime spots.
Yeah,
I've hunted down at Vicksburg. Now CP lives up there. Yeah, I gave him a POD button. I sure did. I gave Chuck a POD button. I found 3 of them. I gave him one, the buddy in Oklahoma one. That's post office department button.
okay.
I found 3 of them in the same field.
Can't reach that.
No, your eyes blurry.
Yeah, I can't read chat no more. Sorry.
I found
Hoglake says Brian B knows because I texted Brian B.
Appreciate that.
I found a beautiful silver pendant. Had a geisha girl on it.
Huh.
It's about down as a 50-cent piece.
Yeah.
And I carried it to the jeweler and had a new ring put on it, silver ring put on it, and I bought a nice silver. And Kay wears it quite often.
Huh.
It's beautiful. It's old antique silver stuff.
Yeah.
Found some old Spanish money. Pieces of 8, or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, I found a lot of stuff.
Well, that's cool.
And it goes along with being a history teacher,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love history. That was my favorite subject in school.
I got into it in college. I always liked history, but I got it. I took it under a professor. He was still getting his PhD. He was from Middle Tennessee. And Alan Dennis was his name. And he's dead now, but he eventually became the department head at Delta State. But I took a course on him, Civil War history. It was 12. It was 3. It's 6 hours, 3 and 3.
Uh-huh.
The first time they had ever offered that course, and that's where I really, really, really got interested in the Civil War. And I don't know how to no telling. Shelby Foote. Have you ever seen his 3-volume books on the Civil War? Shelby Foote.
Sounds familiar. I think my guy I used to work with, he was a big buff, and he would read me stuff on we were on our breaks and all that. That name sounds familiar, but I don't think I don't have one.
Well, Shelby Foote was on what's that show that they interview those authors on? C-SPAN? Not C-SPAN. Yeah. Is it C-SPAN?
C-SPAN does do some, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. They interviewed Shelby Foote for several hours on C-SPAN, and Shelby Foote is from right here where I'm from.
Huh.
He's a lot older than me. He's gone now. But anyway, he wrote a 3,000-page volume, 1,000 each. It's 3 volumes. It's 1,000 each, pages each. Huh. And I bought that thing, and I've read it. Oh, golly, no telling. I've read all of them once, and parts of them at least 20 times, some different stuff. It's very historical and very good. It's good research. It's good everything. And then plus the official records now are available online.
Right.
Used to, when I came along, the nearest volume of the official records was at Delta State at the college. And you couldn't check them out. You had to go in the library and sit and read. And but the official records, there's no telling how many thousands of pages it is of that. And you got to know how to search them. But Cornell University put them online. And I think it may be another university that has published them online. But Cornell is the one I use.
Okay, cool.
And that's the orders that went from the top down and from down back up, all the orders from Yankees and Confederates.
Right.
And you get a lot of, you can study and find places there too. But yeah, the Civil War really around here locally now. I never did study much of it like in your area. I never was gonna get there. So
yeah.
But I've discovered 3 battle sites, skirmish sites, 3 different ones that never been discovered before. I found all 3 of them.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, in a 3-county area. Well, one's in Arkansas and 2 over in Mississippi. That nobody knows where they are but me.
Is it your boy Troy said he went to a Civil War battleground here, and all I find was spooky things.
Spooky things. Yeah, we stopped on our honeymoon. We went to Gatlinburg, and we stopped at Chickamauga on the way up.
Oh.
I didn't take the tour of the battleground. I just wanted to say I'd been there. What was the name of the 3 volumes? Now, you talking about Shelby Foote, Bugman? Foote. You just search Shelby Foote Civil War volumes, and they'll pop up. Shelby, SHELBY Foote, FOOTE, Civil War volumes. But I got them over here in the closet, but no need of me doing that. They're easy to find. Yeah, I forgot the name of it. But it takes the Civil War and splits it into this time and then the middle time and then the end. Why didn't you mute me, Tom? Oh. Hey, Hogleg.
Hey, Hogleg. Hey, Steve, you got anything else you want to talk about? It's getting kind of late. I know Jody needs to work in the morning. I know us retired guys don't have to, but Jody
I'm
does.
ready to rock and roll. I didn't have a nap.
Man, we went almost 3 hours.
2 hours, 37 minutes, and we still got 40 people.
Okay. Well, no, I told Jody, I just answer questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes my answers are a little long-winded, but that's all I was planning on doing is answering questions and showing off Aaron's shirt.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed it. That's what we like. You know, we like people that like to talk and like to, expound upon things. And you certainly did that, and we appreciate it, Steve.
Thank y'all for having me, Tom and Jody.
Appreciate you coming on.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate it. I guess I need to get on out of here, right?
Well, hold on just a minute. When we close out, you'll still be in there as long as you don't touch nothing, and we can say our goodbyes.
Okay. All right.
But thank you, everybody, for coming in and sticking with us. And I've seen people come and go throughout the night, and thank you all. And we appreciate you being here. And stay tuned next week. We'll be back at the same time. Jody, you want to say anything to anybody? Yeah, put you to sleep, Jody.
I told you should do a nighttime show telling a bedtime story.
Yeah. I get to talking and don't know when to quit sometimes.
That's great, Steve. It's well worth it.
Yeah.
Jody, you want to talk about tomorrow night real quick before we go?
Oh, me and Cos will be out fishing tomorrow night from 10 to 2. I don't know if I'll spend the night or not. We'll try to, but it might be too cold.
And where are you going?
I think I'm going to hit Mountain Hill Dam this time, down below it on a mussel bed.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
All right. Well, good luck and be safe out there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll be there. I'll be there watching. I'll be cheering you on from the couch.
All right.
Steve, you want to say good night to everybody?
Thank y'all for watching. in the chat. I appreciate it. I enjoyed myself.
Well, that's great. Appreciate it, Steve. All right, everybody, we're going to get on the road here, and everybody see you next week, and thanks for coming in. Good night now.
Night.